Hello guys, my name is Luca from AudioTribe YouTube channel, and in this video I will make a cross comparison video between the Sony XV500, the Sony XV900 and the new release one, the Sony ULT Tower9. So why I make this comparison? Because I want to see the difference in power between the smaller party boxes from Sony versus the bigger party boxes from Sony. So first let's talk about the specs. This is the Sony XV500. It has two small woofers and two tweeters. As you see, it has a minimalist input, but it does the job. It has the function that we need. Of course, it has a light mode, but it is not that powerful. Now this is the Sony XV900. It has an amazing 12.5-inch woofer, two mid-range speakers, two tweeters on the front, two tweeters on the sides, and up here it has two tweeters for an omnidirectional sound. Of course, this is the interface that looks very good. And on the left we have the new Sony ULT Tower9, that in my opinion it is a monster. And of course, similar with the Sony XV900, the Sony ULT Tower9, it has the same 12.5-inch woofers, two mid-range speakers and four tweeters, two on the front and two here on the sides for an omnidirectional sound. Of course, the interface are very different, but I love them both because they look very modern. The Sony XV500 have an internal battery. Even the Sony XV900 has an internal battery that lasts up to 25 hours of playing time, but the Sony ULT Tower9, it is the AC model. It is the AC model. That means it doesn't have an internal battery, but it is a Sony ULT Tower9 that does have internal battery. This model doesn't have internal battery, and to be sure that we will get the maximum output of the speakers, I have connected to the power source all of these speakers. So to see how good are the big speakers compared to the small speakers, I will make two tests. I will make a loudness test to see how loud it is each speaker, and the second test I will play a low frequency tone that goes from 100 Hz to 5 Hz to see how low they can get and how deep it is the bass. First will be the Sony XV500 at the maximum level of sound.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yeah. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
So the Sony XV500 reached 105.9 decibels. This is very good for such a small speaker, but the sound, it is not that balanced. It has bass, it has highs, but the sound, it is not perfect. Yeah, for $300 this is a good buy. But now let's switch to the Sony XV900, that it should be much better.
Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
And that was the sound test with the Sony XV900. As you see, it reached 108 decibels. That means it is louder than the Sony XV500, but it is not amazingly loud. As you see, I have put the decibel meter exactly in the front of the Sony XV900, same as the Sony XV500, and I will do the same with the Sony ULT Tower9. The sound, it is much fuller than the range that the Sony XV500 has. It has deeper bass, it has a much better sound than the XV500. Now we're gonna go to the Sony ULT Tower9.
Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
So as you see, the speaker versus the decibel meter, it is exactly at 140 centimeters apart, one from each other. And now let's talk about the sound of the Sony ULT Tower9. Compared to the other two, the sound from the Sony speaker, it is much better. The range frequency, it is wider, the bass, it is much stronger. You can definitely tell that it is a party speaker, and these are not that powerful. Of course, the sound, it is much better than these two. Everything is much better versus these two speakers. So it reached 112.5 decibels. It is clear that it is much louder, much better in every way. Now we're gonna do the bass test. I will gonna put a low frequency test that goes from 100 Hz to 5 Hz to see which goes deeper in bass and which has the most powerful one. First will be the smallest, the Sony XV500. And that was the bass test. As you saw, at around 75 Hz to 60 Hz, it is the best Hertz range for this speaker. Of course, it is not that powerful, but you can definitely feel it. after 50 Hz the bass stops feeling in the room. So yes, for the bass I do not recommend this speaker. Now we're gonna go to the Sony XV900 and we will gonna do the same, and I think this will be much better than this one. So of course the bass that comes from the Sony XV900 was much better. Between 90 to 55 the bass, it is very strong. You can definitely feel the shakes of objects in the house. Less than 55 to 40 to 30 you can barely notice the bass. So yes, between 90 and 55 this is very good. Now let's go to the Sony ULT Tower9 to see if that will be much better, but take into account that both have the same 12.5 squared woofer. If the Sony XV500 doesn't move objects in the house, the Sony XV900 moves objects in the house, but the Sony ULT Tower9 moves everything in the house. Of course, unfortunately, it moves everything in a house between 95 to 45 or 50 Hz. Less than that, the bass it is not that powerful, and from 40 to 0 almost it doesn't have power. So yes, the Sony ULT Tower9 it is much better. I think it is twice as better of the Sony XV900, and I think this is because of the software integration. So which one to buy? I will not recommend you the Sony XV500 because doesn't give us the best sound that a party speaker can give us. Unfortunately, the Sony XV900 it is not that powerful for me to recommend you to buy, but the Sony ULT Tower9 is powerful. It has powerful bass, it looks much better, it has much better lights than these two, it has the omnidirectional sound, and yes, I really love the Sony ULT Tower9. Of course, the Sony ULT Tower9 it is the most expensive one. It costs $800 versus $700 and versus $300. But yeah, I love sound, so I definitely recommend you the Sony ULT Tower9. But what will you choose? Feel free to subscribe to AudioTribe YouTube channel and please hit that like button.